The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus said to his disciples, "Do not imagine that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish, but to complete them. I tell you solemnly, till heaven and earth disappear, not one dot, not one little stroke shall disappear from the law, until its purpose is achieved. Therefore, the man who infringes even one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be considered the least in the kingdom of heaven. But the man who keeps them and teaches them will be considered great in the kingdom of heaven." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Our readings today put something square and center for us. And it's probably the hardest thing that a Trinidadian could deal with. And that is that the law is the law and it needs to be respected. You know, we are not really good with this at all. You know that. You know, no matter how we try, we always think that we could do what we want with the law. But here's what is put before us today. That Jesus says, not one dot, not one stroke of the law is going to disappear. Because he hasn't come to abolish the law, he's come to complete it. There are many people who believe that Jesus has abolished the law, and therefore now we can do as we want. St. Augustine takes it to the next level and shows us how Jesus has completed the law. Because he says, love and then do what you want. Because if you love, you will always do the loving thing, and love will supersede the law. The only way to live with the law is to live in a moment that's higher than the law. In our first reading from Deuteronomy, it's such a wonderful text, because Deuteronomy is setting out the whole law for the people of Israel. And this law that is being set out is undergirded by a truth. And the truth is that this God who gives you the law is a God of love. What people have a God so wonderful, so amazing, so powerful as the God who gives you this law today? No other people is as wise and prudent as this great people. And indeed, what great nation is there that has its God so near as the Lord our God, as to us, whenever we call on him? And what great nation is there that will have a law and custom to match this whole law that I have set before you today? When Jesus completes the law, he takes it to the next level. You've heard how it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, offer the wicked man no resistance. It's not just that we don't give exact, it is that we go higher than that. You've heard how it was said, do not commit adultery. But I say to you, anyone who lusts has already broken the law. Jesus raises the bar. Why does he raise the bar? Because a Christian is not to live by the letter of the law. The Christian is to live by the love of the God who has given us the law, and to experience that love as the love that drives and determines everything in our life. And so when we live in this time where the government has asked certain things, when we live in this time where our freedoms have been restricted, when we live in this time where person-to-person contact, we are asked to be very prudent with this. This is not something that we live because, well, we get away and we do as we want, so we throw a corona party so that we can congregate in somebody's house so nobody could know. This is something that we do and we take it to the next level because we love Trinidad and Tobago, because we love God, because we love our neighbor, because we love the most vulnerable in this land, because we love those who are most at risk in this land. We do what we need to do in keeping social distance, physical distance, in the sanitation, in the hygiene. We do what we do because we love God. There is a thing in our nation that we are above the law and we could do what we want to skirt the law. And I would say that that is the greatest tragedy of Trinidad and Tobago. It has created the recklessness in our nation. It has allowed the corruption. It has allowed the high murder rate. It has allowed the flagrant disregard of the law and just disregard for law. It has allowed an attitude amongst us that has created the licentiousness that we live at Carnival and during the year. It has allowed us to live without form and without definition. And today, we have a reading in this season of Lent where we are led into this desert time. And this reading is speaking to the very soul of Trinidad and Tobago. We have to become a people, at the very least, who live by the law. But at the most, live beyond the law because we live by the law of love. And therefore, not only will we not do the person-to-person contact, keep the distancing, etc., etc., we will go beyond that to ensure that those in our community who are in need, that they are taken care of. And rather than spending the time in dissipation and in frivolity, let us make calls to the neighbors that we have who we know don't have support systems and ensure that they are being cared for and looked after and loved. Let us ensure that the elderly have the groceries that they need, that they don't need to go out and expose themselves in this time. There is the law, and then there's the law of love. And what I put before you today is what Jesus put before his disciples and what Moses put before his community. We live within the law, but we live higher than that. We live the law of love. And it is the law of love that calls us to love our neighbor. In Deuteronomy, the text that we have is a summation of the Shema Israel. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul. And Jesus adds to that, Leviticus 19, and love your neighbor as yourself. This is the whole law that is set before you. And if we, in this desert period that we are living in this time of real difference for us in Trinidad and Tobago, if we could meditate on the truth of these readings today and how they speak to the soul of our nation and to all that has gone wrong in our nation, we will become a people who will again live the law, but who will again live higher than the law. We will live the law of love. Amen.